welcome back to my channel. Sorry about the lighting. It's the land of Canada where it gets dark at 4:30 in the winter. So as you know, I have three rats, Kate, Scarlet, and Melody. And Melody actually just moved in with the big girls. So I thought in celebration of that, I would do a video to show her coming home process as well as her introductions with her big sisters. Hello, so we have Melody coming home today. She's my third rat. She's in there somewhere. Melody! See her nose. Anyways, so I went to pick her up and I brought with me this carrying case that I bought on Amazon. It's actually marketed as a hamster case, but it's super small. Like, there's my hand compared to it. So don't put your hamster in this full time, but it actually makes a really good carrying case. There's her little nose. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her inside and put her in her quarantine cage. So here's Melody. Can't see her very well. She's kind of scurrying around. This is her quarantine cage. It's still really small, but something I actually learned about rats that I didn't know until I had them was that you need to quarantine them for at least 2 weeks when you get a new one and are introducing it to your mischief, because we don't know if she could have something, so she has to stay in here so that if she is sick, she doesn't pass anything on to the other babies. And Melody's ex-mom gave me this box she really likes, so I just put it in there so that she can have something familiar to get used to it. And now I'm going to put some water on the cage and I'm going to leave her alone for about 48 hours to let her acclimatize before I start trying to bond with her. Melody's bigger quarantine cage came. I got this on Amazon for about $35 American. I did a whole review video for it that I'm going to post on YouTube soon. It's not the best cage in the world, but it is bigger and therefore better than the quarantine cage she was already in. And unfortunately, she's going to have to stay here for about a week longer because her sisters are sick and on antibiotics. So yeah, I think she'll be more comfortable in here. She has more places to climb. I could fit more toys, more interesting things to do. And overall, it's just a better setup for her. So unfortunately, while she was in quarantine, Melody started showing some signs of depression. So her sisters were pretty well into their antibiotics at this time, and I decided I would rather have to give three rats antibiotics than have her be as lonely as she was. So I decided to move her cage in beside her sister's cage, and she immediately perked up and was moving so much more. And luckily, she did not seem to contract any sort of respiratory infection from them. After spending the better part of a week beside each other, during which I switched their bedding, switched their toys, etc., I started using the carrier method on my girls. Here they're just trying to get out, but it didn't take long for them to start settling down, and pretty soon they were in a little cuddle puddle. I didn't see much dominance behavior while they were actually in the small carrier, so I did move them to Melody's quarantine cage with everything removed. I initially wasn't able to get one of the shelves out of the cage, which is another downfall of this particular cage. And the girls did rip the lining and start doing weird things like climbing inside it. So eventually I took some wire benders and managed to get it out. While they were in the cage, they did start doing some dominance behaviors, particularly Scarlet doing dominance behaviors over Melody. In a couple clips, you're going to see that Scarlet spent a lot of time dominance grooming Melody. And Kate didn't do this as much, but she did actually end up doing so a little bit. Something else that surprised me was I noticed Melody sneaking up behind and mounting Kate quite a bit. So here you can see Kate demonstrating why I had to get that shelf out. Meanwhile, Scarlett is dominance grooming Melody in that corner. And in this clip, you can clearly see Melody playing dead as Scarlett dominance grooms her. This is just a part of establishing the hierarchy. And while this went on for a while, they did eventually settle down and start snoozing together, as I had hoped. So after about a day in this cage, I moved them into their bigger cage. Initially, I had nothing in their bigger cage except for one basket for sleeping, and eventually they settled down, stopped doing most of their dominance behaviors, and started snuggling in their little basket together.
Everybody's snuggling. Hello, Kate. Don't stop on my account. We're all having a snuggle.
So since moving the girls back into their big cage together, I've started slowly re-adding some of their items. I avoided the igloo for the first couple days just because I didn't want Melody to have anywhere to get trapped, but I did actually already put it back in, as well as more of their hammocks, their ferret tube, and now just about everything is back in, and we're still not having many problems. So overall, I'd say this was a pretty easy transition. I mean, Scarlett clearly wanted Melody to know that she's the boss and Melody is not. But other than that, and some humping from Melody, other than that, everything went pretty smoothly, and I'm really glad because this is something I was really stressed and anxious about. So hopefully watching this helped you if you're going to start introducing rats, or hopefully it was just enjoyable to see how cute my rats are. Please consider subscribing to my channel, as I am going to have more videos with the girls and with more information and fun things to do with rats. Thanks, bye!